Ladies and gentlemen, hello. Welcome back for another episode of CasualCraft with me, your host RedRipz, your Renegade Master and Dreadlock Caster, right here in my bedroom up in Newcastle, UK. Now, in today's game, we're featuring a PVZ on the good old Acheron Wastes here. Now, we've got in the bottom right-hand corner of the map, Frogstomp. He likes to call himself after his favourite activity, I'm sure. The red Zerg player down here, blah, blah, blah. Look at him looking sexy. Now, in the top left-hand corner, we have today's brother from another mother, the EXTRAneous. Yes, the blue Protoss player. He's looking sexy there as well. So, yeah, that's him. And obviously, as I say, sister from another mister down in the bottom right here, we have Frogstomp. So it's all good, all good. So, yeah, Acheron Wastes, here we are back again. It's been a fucking amazing weekend, I'll be honest. I had an absolutely class time just drinking. And yeah. So that was good. Yeah, I'm happy with that. Meanwhile, we've got EXTRAneous wandering on the map here, sending his first little probe out. He's going to have a little look around. We've not seen any majorly techie buildings out of either player yet. We should be seeing a gateway down here any moment now. Possibly a forge fast, but I'd imagine gateway since it's up on the high ground. It's more traditional. Let's have a little look as EXTRAneous is getting some scouting information off his teammate Frogstomp. I want to give a shout out to the guys who sent us this. Apparently, he's trying to get more of his friends into StarCraft 2 by having people cast his games for his friends. So I'm do my best here. You know, I'm pretty new at this, so you'd have to give us a little bit of leeway with my my vocalization and what the hell I'm talking about and all this kind of thing. But yeah, so I'll try and make it interesting. Big shout out to all you guys. Lovely to have you all watching. So hopefully that's cool for you. Now, obviously here we're getting the assimilator out as well behind the gateway here. So we should be seeing fairly standard stuff out of EXTRAneous here. Nothing too out of this world. Basically, obviously your gateway, you're building basic units. Another gateway down at the front there. Is that a full wall? Not quite. There's a little gap there. And what you do is you build these down the front here. Stick a zealot in the gap here. And basically no one can get through without forge down now without killing the zealot at the front there, which obviously is great against Zerg players who love to build lings and run in. Now lings are built from this thing, the spawning pool, which is coming up now here at the back. Frogstomp built this pretty much first, and he went quickly for another base just behind that. This should get his economy going nice and early, looking very good. Exactly what you want to be doing as a Zerg player. No messing around on one base, because one base Zerg is so cheesy and rubbish, isn't it just? Now so yeah, we're getting the first queen here out of Frogstomp. Sexy man is also getting his extractor down now, so we should be seeing ling speed out of him before too long. This makes his Zerglings fast as fook, to use the Yorkshire. And so that'll be on the way before too long. Meanwhile, we're seeing the Cybernex core here out of EXTRAneous. This is your average tech building. He just basically allows him to build the next level of units. He'll also be getting warp gate down there for his gateways, which allows him to drop units in wherever he wants on the map, as long as it's in range of a pylon. So yeah, I'm trying to explain things as best as I can here, just because obviously if there's relatively new players watching, they might not entirely understand what I'm talking about. Essentially, EXTRAneous needs to get his shit together, and to do that he's going to be getting out as many gateways as possible, a Cybernetics core which he'll get warp gate down with, which is this upgrade here, as soon as he's got the as soon as he's got the 50 gas, but he might be waiting for a mothership core or something. Yep, there it is, the warp gate starting. Once that's finished up, basically you can use these buildings to warp in units within range of your pylons, which allows you to basically go, oh, I'm just going to build a little pylon, say, here, in the middle of my opponent's base, and then just warp in a bunch of units and kill the crap out of him. Meanwhile, Zerg player will be doing his best to stop our Protoss player from doing that. I mean, I'm not entirely sure that Protoss will be going for such tactics, but it's the sort of thing you usually do. We're getting extra gateways down here now. 2 extra gateways, so we're seeing a 3 gate with a forge. I'm surprised he's bothered building a forge without getting the cannon down at the front, although he's not seen any extra pressure, so he's probably just going to wait and see what you do. Basically, you build a forge to allow you to build cannons at the front. It also allows you to get upgrades for your men, makes them stronger, makes them better, basically. It's a good thing to spend money on. Now, Frogstomp, meanwhile, is going to be getting up the second base here. He's getting some drones down. These are his economy units, obviously. They're going to be mining out some minerals for him to allow him to build shit tons of Zerg units, which is basically how Zerg works. What you do is you build as many units as possible and then kill your opponent. And yeah, you know, every race is like that, but Zerg's a swarm race. Heart of the Swarm, all that. So yeah, we should be seeing more of that. Now we're getting another extractor out of Frogstomp here, so I'd imagine we'll be seeing either some roaches maybe, or possibly some more tier 2 tech. It depends, we'll have to wait and see. We're getting the layer down out of him there now, which will allow him to access the tier 2 technology to allow him to build better Zerg units as opposed to just little banelings and lings and all this kind of thing. Now he's got a couple here in the second base, so he knows that EXTRAneous is actually doing bugger all at the moment in terms of expansion, so you should be expecting some sort of pressure out of him before too long. Of course, actually we're just going to be seeing a Stargate down here out of EXTRAneous, so he's going to be getting out some fun units, better known as air units. So they're going to be marauding the map and killing the crap out of these Zerg units, because Zerg actually really struggles to shoot up. Basically, we've got this thing here, which is a spore crawler that will shoot at the sky. They're basically a willy in the ground that shoots the sky, and then you've also got queens that can shoot up. But other than that, early game you've got virtually nothing for Zerg players that can shoot up, so air units are really, really good against them. Meanwhile, in the main Zerg base, we're going to be seeing the hatchery turning into a layer before too long. If we just want to watch this finish up, it looks very good. Oh, gosh, look at that. Look at them graphics. Beautiful. So with that finishing up, we should be starting to see some second tier tech coming out of Frogstomp here, and indeed he is going to be going for the Hydralisk Den. Now these guys can shoot up as well, so obviously they're really good against the air units of Protoss, for example, or anything that's in the air. They're basically a really low health, really high damage ranged unit that throw lots of damage out of people. They sort of wiggle along the ground, they're little wormy things, but they shoot up. So that should be it. Good to deal with any of the air that we were going to see out the Stargate there, but he's actually cancelled now, so it doesn't look like we'll be seeing a Stargate after all. We're going to be getting 4 gateways down, and EXTRAneous should be pushing out onto the ramp down here and hopefully taking a second base before too long. I didn't actually check what league these guys were in. I'd imagine it's sort of silvery gold area, possibly as high as plats, depends on, I mean, there's not really the research builds here, more sort of general kind of good stuff, like building this expansion here, which is now under pressure from Zerglings, by the way. So we're going to be seeing a little bit of a pushback here from EXTRAneous as he forces Zerglings out the base. And look at this guy just across the ground there, very sexy. So Frogstomp's going to be keeping poking up there, making sure this base doesn't go down too easily, but it's not actually going to be that effective because there's way too many Stalkers there right now for EXTRAneous. And with that, I think Frogstomp's going to give up with that, and looks like he's going to be taking a third base down the bottom here on the low ground. This basically continues to expand his economy. He'll need to build a bunch more drones to make sure that he can get the full advantage of that base, and then build as many units as he can, basically. It's typical Zergy stuff. Now, I'm a little bit surprised about how low his supply is. I thought he'd either continue droning or perhaps getting more units out, but I guess he did lose a bunch of units at the second base then of EXTRAneous, who's looking sexy in his own right here as he's getting out more and more pylons. We're seeing a photon cannon down at the front, we're seeing extra gateways, that'll be taking us up to 6 gateways now, plus a Twilight Council, so we will be seeing some Zealot and Stalker upgrades coming out here for EXTRAneous. That's basically we can get Blink for the Stalkers. Those, they can basically teleport short distances every 10 seconds it is, yep, 10 seconds. They're allowed to blink places, it's free, so you might as well get it. Well, it's free once you've got the upgrade. You obviously have to pay for the upgrade. And then obviously Zealots can get Charge, which allows them to run into battle really quickly when they get close to enemy units. And obviously, as we're seeing now, the Warp Gate's coming out now. We should be seeing more and more units being churned out here for EXTRAneous as he gathers his army together at the front and just generally tries to just get his shit together. Like I say, it's a lot of this game really is about trying to get your shit together and stopping your opponent from stopping you getting your shit together. And Frogstomp's going to be doing his best to do that now as he's moving out with his Zerglings up across the middle of the map here. Behind that we've got the slightly slower Hydralisk, although I think he does have the speed upgrade, but not yet the range upgrade. Yeah, he's getting the... Oh, is that the range upgrade? Yeah, it is, yeah. So he's getting the range upgrade now. Obviously, range upgrade's really, really good, because you can start attacking stuff earlier, you can get more in the lines and stuff, and if you micro them forward, it's all very good. Unfortunately, he's just going to straight up lose these Lings, I think. We'll have to wait and see. I don't think either player's got any upgrades yet. Oh, we've got 1-1 actually out of the Stalkers here. But so what we're seeing here, we're seeing the robotics facility out there for EXTRAneous. That should be basically... Out of the robotics, you're going to be building anything that you need to kill the ground units, is what the robotics facility is for. You've got the Observer, which will basically give you view of everything that's invisible. Not quite as necessary against Zerg, but it's really useful to obviously see where your opponent is without him necessarily being able to stop you from seeing him, because he has to have vision himself to see the Observer because they're invisible, although actually with detectors here, Frogstomp's going to be able to handle that absolutely fine. Does not like EXTRAneous will be moving out to try and get a third base down here. But we'll have to wait and see what he does behind that. I'd imagine that was the plan there if we're going to be taking down this wall. Meanwhile, Frogstomp's going to be moving up the front. We're going to be seeing some good defence here at EXTRAneous. A nice wide concave, and the front row of Frogstomp's troops being killed off straight away there, so he's not actually going to be able to do too much there. Meanwhile, out of the robotics, we've also got the Warp Prism, which allows you to fly around, drop stuff in everywhere, basically a drop ship, and also allows you to warp in units like a pylon, so it's absolutely lethal strong. You get the Immortals, which are great against armoured units like Roaches. You usually see a lot of Roaches against Protoss, although actually this Zerg player hasn't elected to do such a thing. And then lastly we get the Colossi, and it does look like we'll be seeing Colossi coming out here, because we get the robotics bay down, which will allow us to build the Colossus. And basically they're a great big walker. They count technically as air units in a certain manner of speaking, because they're so tall. But it's basically like out of War of the Worlds. You get the big laser thing, doing all that kind of shit. So that will generally be the crack there, it seems. Now we're just going to get some high ground vision with this guy. We're going to be picking up some pylons around the edge here with these hydralisks, all very nice. And obviously we're going to see EXTRAneous come and try and respond to this now, so he'll be coming down. We're getting a really nice concave actually out of Frogstomp here. He's managed to get his army right the way around there, although I'm not actually sure who's going to be getting out this one alive. There's no actual upgrades yet for Frogstomp. He's going for the one attack upgrade, but that's it, whereas EXTRAneous is on 1-1 already, so he should be getting a lot more out of his troops than our friend Frogstomp will here. And with the force fields right across the middle of the ramp there, that will be allowing EXTRAneous just to cut down the few front troops, and means he doesn't have to deal with the back row of Frogstomp's units there. Now we're seeing the third base come down out of EXTRAneous here, and this is all very, very nice and sexy. Yeah, come on, man, get your upgrades. It's all good, it's all good. So that in mind, we're going to be getting his third base down. Perhaps, I mean, his second could have been a bit earlier, but considering how Frogstomp's been playing, he's sort of been taking it really slow himself. Not really a problem at this kind of level, absolutely fine. And the fact that he's now getting a third base up now, EXTRAneous is looking really, really dangerous. Frogstom's going to have to start macroing hard to stay ahead of this, and also make sure that he can get enough of an army together to deal with this. He needs to concentrate on getting upgrades, and just generally just trying to knock away this army. The trick really is to poke up and down the ramp a bit and try and force your opponent to get rid of the force fields, and then once they're done you can engage properly. It's difficult to do though. It's sort of a bit of a back and forth between your opponents, and you've got to try and make sure that you actually do get him to use up those force fields. Now with that we're going to be seeing not quite the Colossi falling there, but Colossi are basically a hard counter to Hydralisks. So once he's got 2 or 3 of these out, the Hydralisks are going to be pretty much useless. And I'd actually like to see just something else out of Frogstomp there, really. Maybe some air units or something like that. It'd be good to see a Spire down, which actually just started on there now as I say that. So good times there for Frogstomp. Meanwhile, he's getting his fourth base here inside his on his low ground there. So I'd imagine he'll be clearing out these rocks soon to allow him to get in and move around there. And yeah, essentially at this point it's a game of macro because both players have smallish armies, but they're not really big enough to take each other out. And they just want to sit back and try and get up as much of an economy as possible. And then really from the Zerg's perspective, what you want to do is you want to keep throwing armies at your opponent and rebuilding them, and using your superior production mechanics to allow you to stay ahead in that way. Whereas the Protoss player needs to be doing much more in the way of just building the death ball, getting out the Colossi, and hopefully our Zerg player won't respond too well to that, and the Colossi should just be able to stomp all over these Hydralisks. It's interesting actually seeing so many Zerg players going straight Hydralisks now. It was always something that was weird in Wings of Liberty, and you never really saw it until the Hydralisks got the speed upgrade that they've gotten out of Heart of the Swarm. But with so many Protoss players just going straight into air toss now and seeing mass void rays and that kind of thing, it was obviously a really good choice just to go straight into the Hydralisks, because they deal well with all of that sort of thing. Anything in the air, the Hydralisks will take out. So it's really interesting to see the Zerg players continuing to go straight into Hydralisks, and I quite like it. It's I think it shows at least some foresight, and you can always tech out of them, because at the end of the day you're putting down one building, you build a bunch of units, and if you're going for swarm hosts and stuff, it's the upgrades you'll be having anyway. It's it's really not that bad. I would have really liked to have seen a much earlier defensive upgrade out of Frogstomp, especially with Hydralisks. You really need as much defense as you can get on them, because they're so weak. Their health's so low. It's really quite difficult to deal with now. We're seeing some reasonable creep spread out of Frogstomp here. I'd quite like to see him push it forward a little bit more, but otherwise he's been doing pretty well with that. He's got it nicely out the front of his base now, and gives him a good little bit of vision down the bottom end of the map, and also some control here. It's not quite as far up the map as it could be, perhaps, but it's all good. We're actually going to see some Vipers out of him now, which is good. Really what you want to do with those is you want to be pulling the Colossi out and just picking them off. Essentially, Vipers have a big slingshot thing that they can grab units with and suck them in. It's pretty ridiculously powerful. Now, Frogstomp's going to be going for a 5th at the top here. All very good. It generally allows him to continue his economy. His main's pretty much mining out now. It's not completely, but it's getting down there. The second as well is starting to look a little bit thin on the ground. So this 5th base is definitely a good idea, especially with this other one down the bottom here. And we've got all the Hydras here. They're going to be moving around, not really doing too much yet. I think EXTRAneous is probably looking to get up his own 4th down here as well. This 3rd is mining very, very efficiently now, with 41 workers wandering around in it. That's not really ideal, but I guess when you've got that many spare workers, yeah, that's what you go for. So yeah, I'd quite like to see another base up out of EXTRAneous here to make sure his economy's ticking over. Meanwhile, Frogstomp has maxed out now, so he does really kind of need to be moving in with this, or at least trying to do something. Maybe split the army in 2, engage slightly at the front here and pull it back as the other force goes in at the top and does some damage up here, and then you can remax behind it with more expensive units, because he's pooling up a lot of gas and minerals, and really Hydralisks aren't that expensive. So you just don't want to engage face on with all these Colossi, and now let's see if we can get the control here. Oh, this is lovely, lovely. Pulling the Colossi right forward there. 2 might just fall, perhaps, if we can target them down. Not quite the targeting down that Frogstomp needed. That was unfortunate. He had quite good control on the initial 2 pulls, but after that he's just pretty much sunk his whole army into that, and that's just gone now there for Frogstomp, really. So he needs to instantly be remaxing. I want to see more production out of him, really. EXTRAneous has lost a bunch of stuff, but he's kept the thick of his army alive. He's got 2 Colossi with the 3rd one finishing up, and also a shit ton of Stalkers down. So really, EXTRAneous could probably just move out here and start doing a whole load of damage. I mean, he's got to be aware that our Zerg player will be remaxing as quick as he can, but since he's got a bit of a deficit of the old lava there, because he's been missing his lava injects, which, by the way, if you want a tip as a Zerg player, just get your lava injects down. Like, this 200 gas thing, no. You should be on, like, bugger all, basically. All your queens should be out of energy, pretty much, except maybe this guy who's going to be wandering around the map doing his thing. But, no, you need to concentrate on your lava injects. That's the one thing you need to be hitting. Make sure you've got loads and loads of lava so you can spend these huge amounts of resources that you end up mining. Less so the gas, obviously. I mean, you know, unless you've got, like, 8 geysers up or something, which actually our player does at the moment. I'm not sure if he's mining them all efficiently yet. No, he's not mining these 2 yet. But even with 6 guys, you'll get a lot of gas building up, so you need to be sort of, you know, spending it on stuff. But with the Swarm Host coming out, that should be good. And I really like Swarm Hosts against this kind of composition. They're just effective. You need quite a lot of them. You sort of want at least kind of 10 to 12 really. So this 9 that come out isn't really going to be enough, and they're actually going to be a little bit late really to stop EXTRAneous' army just marching on in here as it's doing. And we're going to actually see a lot of death here for Frogstomp here as the first few of the Swarm Hosts are going to be building up there, but we're just keep moving all these units in. This is all just going to die straight up to these 3 Colossi here. There's not really anything that Frogstomp can do about that, and with this huge assault going down here, I'm actually really struggling to see what Frogstomp can do at this stage. He's kind of thrown it away a bit by losing that army that he lost, and hasn't really rebuilt much anything else. I mean, he's got a bunch of Zerglings down, but like, he just wasn't able to kill off enough of this army in that initial engagement, and he just didn't really have the right composition of units to deal with the Stalkers in the way that he did with the Colossi behind them. You need the Cruxus out a little bit earlier, taking down these sort of things, and then the Hydra's just sitting a little bit further back, taking out all the Stalkers, and trying not to deal with the Colossi. I mean, obviously, if you pull them forward, target them down, but basically you want it to be pulling forward a couple of the Colossi and then grabbing them with targeting down the Hydras, with the Hydralisks, sorry, instead of like just pulling them forward and then just moving in. It didn't really work because the Colossi survived, and then they were just in a really good position to just mow down all the troops. So that wasn't so good, but as long as EXTRAneous can get some vision up here, he shouldn't have too much difficulty dealing with this Swarm Host thing. Until you've got a lot of them, and you've got quite a lot of... There's quite a lot of micro involved in Swarm Hosts, believe it or not, despite them being siege units, in that I sort of feel like you need to drop them on the floor, spawn, pull them up and pull back if you can, because otherwise the opponent just walks in on top of them. However, with this going down now, we're actually going to be seeing pretty much the end of Frogstomp here, I think. I'd love to be more sort of positive about what he's doing at the moment, but I mean, I'm sure he's trying his hardest, but when you've got a Protoss army walking up into your main base and you've got two Swarm Hosts defending, not much you're going to do. You're going to lose your hive there, mate. And considering he's already lost this base here, yeah, there's just not really much going on here for Frogstomp. It's a bit of a shame, really, because he's macroing quite nicely. He had his 3rd base up, he went for a 4th, got a nice early 5th out. He's looking really good. He was even getting down the ground defences. But when the Protoss army can just come straight in through here, walk in and up without any sort of stopping him, that's... Well, what can you do, really? It's a bit of a pain. So with that in mind, I think we're going to be seeing EXTRAneous take this game. It's... a little bit slow on the uptake here, although we might see some sort of... Oh my goodness, where's everything going? We're getting the Mutalisks out now, apparently. That's the choice move here out of Frogstomp here, as his hive will be falling. Does he still have a Spire? I feel like he doesn't anymore. I'm not seeing one anywhere. We're seeing a little bit of drone micro here going on. I'm not sure what that's about. There's quite a lot of Mutas out now, though, in the 2nd base here of... sorry, the 3rd base here of EXTRAneous. We're getting the Stalker Warp in, though, so this should be able to do with it, as long as they just follow them around. Did we get Blink? No, we didn't get Blink, but we did get the Zealot... Yeah, we got Charge. So we got the Twilight Council for Charge. It's all very nice. I would like to see these Chrono Boosts being used. Get them out, get them done with, get more of anything Chrono Boost out. Even just, if you've got spare Chrono Boosts, start warping stuff in and like Chrono Boosting the warp gates to speed up the cooldown. It's well worth it. You just get more and more troops out and allows you to get back up to that 200 cap that you should be at when you've got 6,000, 3,000 resources. But it's not too bad. I mean, to be honest, Frogstomp's actually doing quite a lot of damage here with these Mutalisks, and it's actually forced EXTRAneous to pull out. And to be honest, because EXTRAneous hasn't been able to deal with these Swarm Hosts, because his troops have very much just been sat there taking free damage, it's a little bit of a shame. I mean, to be honest, I feel like he could pretty much just kill off what was there and just use the observer to just walk in and kill these. But I mean, I guess he's not really to know exactly how many there are if he hasn't had the observer of them already. So it's very much up to him. At this stage, he's feeling it's obviously better to pull back and try and deal with this this base race strategy that Frogstomp's going for here. With quite a lot of Mutalisks he's managed to get up now. I'm not really sure how he's managed to do that. Where is that Spire? Is that... that's the spawning pool. He's left the Spire at the back here. Oh, that's a shame. Yeah, make sure you take out the Spire, EXTRAneous. When you clear out a base, clear it out. Don't just leave this sort of thing in there. Because, well, I understand you might not have been able to concentrate entirely because you're trying to deal with this Muta pack, but, like, taking out the Spire, Zerg players hate it. It really, really is horrible when you have your Spire taken out. And with this force moving up into Frogstomp's, well, it's now his main, I guess, sort of. We've sort of got bases all over the map now with Frogstomp, really. It's a bit of a mess. But and he's not really seeing anything dealing with these mutants yet, and it's a real problem here for EXTRAneous. He needs to get his army together and just deal with them. I mean, like, where's the Stalkers? Get the Stalkers. Come, bring the Stalkers, right? It's not that far. Let's just have a look. I can just about get them on one screen. Bring the Stalkers here and kill things. Don't just no. Everything's dying. Oh well, never mind. We didn't need these bases anyway. I mean, this it's not like Frogstomp's got that many bases. So actually, to be honest, I'm really impressed with how long Frogstomp survived here. Like, I thought he was out of the game 5 minutes ago. So the very fact that he's continuing with this and is actually doing a shit ton of damage to his opponent here, he's continuing to keep his macro up as well as he's getting the more bases up. Although he could do with pulling these back instead of letting them traipsy across the map here, massively under the vision of EXTRAneous. Oh wow! Look at the slyness of that route through there. That is total blackness there for EXTRAneous. He couldn't see them moving at all, and now with the Zealots coming down, he's actually going to see all those move in, and that's going to be probably the end of most of what's left here for EXTRAneous. I mean, we do still have Swarm hosts down, so unless there's any vision, we're going to be seeing the Zealots gradually getting taken out by these guys, because to be honest, they put out so much damage, it's a little bit embarrassing, really, for people to have to deal with. So still got some mutants wandering around in EXTRAneous' main. They're going to be gradually taking out everything. I mean, I guess it's actually turned into a full-on base race now, really. It's actually lasted much longer than I might have intended, but no, it's all good. We're looking very nice. We've just got the units tab, just see what everyone has. We're down to 29 Stalkers now for EXTRAneous, 25 Mutalisks here for Frogstomp, and 5 Swarm hosts underneath that as well, with a whole 5 Observers and 6 Zealots wandering around. Both players are down to bugger all in the way of economy. Although actually Frogstomp, interestingly, does have more in the way of an economy at the moment, as EXTRAneous is down to just a measly 16 probes now, and they're dying quickly as well under the fate of these Mutalisks here now. Where oh, come on, man, kill off the spare probes. Don't let probes survive like that. He'll just build another one. He's got 6,000 resources. You've really got to work on taking out absolutely everything when you're taking out bases. You don't want to don't take out the base and get out unless you're going to lose your army because of it. Like, just try and make sure you clear out stuff like that, because it's so easy to get a fresh base back up. And especially now with EXTRAneous having absolutely no Nexi left whatsoever, he's basically, because he had these 3 probes, he was able to continue. And there is 6 about, so there's another 3 somewhere. I'm not sure entirely where they're at. Looks like we're seeing another Nexus down the bottom here out of EXTRAneous. It's generally all over the place at the moment, this map, to be honest. We've got the Stalkers of EXTRAneous wandering around, clearing out bases. We've got the Muta pack just absolutely annihilating bases here for Frogstomp. And to be honest, I'm not sure where we're going here now. It's an interesting call to build it that far away. I mean, I understand that there's creep there, but it's just not worth doing. Like, put your base in the base, man. Howie, you'll feel much better about it. I think with that, Frogstomp might finally be getting kicked out of this, because he's not really got anything much left. He's got a few extractors lying around. He's got a few overlords here and there, but like basically the last of his base is here. And with that falling now, he's going to really struggle to stay in this. Although, to be honest, with EXTRAneous losing his remaining main base, and if he doesn't lose these probes here, well, we'll have to wait and see what happens. I mean, he's got a Nexus up there still, so it's not all bad, and he's actually got quite a lot of buildings left, and he's still capable of producing from all of them, considering how much economy he's got. So really, at this point, it's just who can clear out the opponent first. And I think, to be honest, I'm a little bit kind of gutted for EXTRAneous here that it's lasted this long, because if he'd just got enough Stalkers together early on and just taken out that initial ball of Mutas, he wouldn't have had any problems with this, because Frogstomp's not been mining anything for ages, and EXTRAneous really could have had this won and dusted, done and dusted. It's all good. So with that in mind, we're going to see EXTRAneous Stalkers wandering around again, clearing out the extractors, just making sure there's not much left, and with Frogstomp's last hatchery falling down here now, if the drone, kill the drone, oh my god, there's 2 drones left on the map. Yes, there we go, the drone is dead. dead. So we're going to have to wait and see what this very, very last drone here of Frogstomps is going to do. I'd imagine he's going to get another base. Oh, we've got a base down here now. I didn't see that, sorry. It might be finally seeing an engagement between these 22 Mutalisks and 19 Stalkers. Now, I'm not sure who's going to come off on top here, to be honest. We need to be all engaging at once. Don't lose half your... Oh, no, don't lose half your Stalkers. No, dude. No. Although you can warp in a shit ton more, so it's not too bad. But, yeah, no, you need to be engaging all that at once. If you're letting bits of your army get picked off. Oh, no, that was actually the last building. I didn't even see that. Oh, I thought one of these was a building still. Well done. Well done, Extraneous. Well played. So I mean, basically, the biggest point of advice I can give to Extraneous really is just to try and engage all the mutants at once before you let them run all over your base like that. I mean, I understand you're trying to get the game finished before then, but just if you let mutants run wild like that and they keep building and building and building up like that, they do get a little bit out of control. But maybe an earlier second as well might have done the job, although Frogstomp was putting on quite a bit of pressure, so you were right to get an army out. And yeah, no, to be honest, good game. Very good game. Really, very much enjoyed it. And with that, that's another episode of CasualCraft. I think this is 28, 29... 29, I'm tempted to say. I don't actually have the number up anywhere, but we'll go with episode 29, I'll say, and probably be wrong, which is all good. Well, thanks once again for watching. I've been RedRipz, your Dreadlock caster, Renegade master, all that shit that I like to say at the start and end of all these casts. Thanks, as I say again, for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, give me any sort of feedback, would be very much appreciated. I had some really cool feedback the other day off a guy who said that he liked me basically, and I was all for that, obviously. Yeah, thanks again for the replay as well. And this should be up on the internet in the next couple of hours, so I'll get it posted up as soon as I can. And GG to both players. Thank you.